Okay, so I can tell this is the first year Gangplank was released, because I'll be fair with you. When it comes to the mechanics, it was like you just put down 1,000,000 barrels and people just didn't realize they were all going to die. Hey everyone, I'm Bwipo, and today I'll be watching and ranking some of the best Gangplank plays of all time. Sent over by you, so we'll see how good your taste is in Gangplank play.
They're not done yet. Faker flashes in. Gets the root, gets a bunch of damage. They turn back, he burns a stopwatch, and that's going to be him today. The barrel hits two. 369 does what he can, but he's got no team. Burns the stopwatch, immunes the fear, but it's not going to matter.
So a little Zeus clip, which is obviously very interesting. That's a beautiful one-part combo is what people like to call it. He actually just detonates the first barrel, and there's a mechanic where you can put down the second barrel as the first one detonates, and if you do it at max range, so it does require some skill, it will actually detonate both of them, and in this case, beautifully done. We'll not talk about that Everfrost from Faker, because that happens sometimes. But this is basically the play that every Gangplank player aspires to accomplish. You know, you walk up to the enemy bot lane and you just pull off that one-part combo and one-shot them. Especially because you see Hope walking up to hit the barrel, right? So it's not only a test of accuracy in terms of where you place the barrels, it is also a timing thing, which is why I think a lot of people love Gangplank. I do think he's probably the highest skill ceiling champion in the game, and you know, it's just always magnificent to watch some of the best in the world play him. Since the first play I've seen, I'm going to put it on A tier. The reason why I'm putting it only at A tier is because I feel like this is the most basic high-level Gangplank play. So it's not the most basic Gangplank play, but if you want to start getting near the tiers of some of the best Gangplank players in the world, this is a basic skill that you're going to have to develop in order to start carrying games. Why? Because if you watch the clip again, you'll see very clearly he cues the barrel at the same time the enemy AD carry hits the barrel, and had he put down the second barrel before detonating the first, his barrel would have disappeared, right? Hope would have finished off the barrel. That is why you want to make sure that you detonate the barrel and then put the next one down. Now you need to be max range, so Gangplank's Q needs to be max range. Otherwise there's not enough time before the first barrel detonates to put down the second and chain it. So there's this very small time window that you can actually chain the second barrel. But that said, the best Gangplank players in the world manage to pull this off consistently every single time, and that's why I'm putting it at A tier.
Is up, remember. Rocks Tigers fighting for their tournament life here, fighting for perhaps their team life. Baron taken. Oh, it's taken by Smeb. Smeb stole the Baron. Smeb stole the Baron. They're going after Fly now, and Rocks Tigers turning it around. Hachani solo. That's 2 kills. That's 2 kills for Smeb.
Unbelievable Baron steal.
He did it.
Oh, does his ult steal it? Oh, it's a classic, isn't it? Oh, it's the classic. Oh, it's the classic. So the thing about Gangplank is, one of his biggest strengths is that he deals mixed damage. He has true damage, physical damage, and magic damage in his ultimate. And his ultimate actually deals a really high amount of magic damage when you have Fire at Will, which is the, well, people call it the first upgrade because it's generally speaking the best one, but it basically makes his ultimate double the amount of cannons it fires. I'm not exactly sure what the lore implications are, but anyway, the cannons shoot faster and it deals obscene amounts of damage. Baron reduces magic resistance when you're in the pit, as well as, well, armor resistance. Like it reduces magic resistance and armor, but the reason why that's really impactful for Gangplank is because his ultimate, especially when he has Fire at Will, if you just throw it into the Baron pit, generally speaking, if they don't have like a large amount of lifesteal or they don't have shields, they're gonna have to pull off the Baron just by your ultimate. That's the only thing you need. He can stop Barons, and sometimes, because it's pretty much always right to ult the Baron pit, because everyone that's in the pit having those reduced resistances is going to get shredded by your ultimate, you sometimes end up getting a little bit lucky and collect 1,500 more gold than you tried to. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really rate this play as like a high-end play, right? You pressed R and got a little Baron, you know? How do you rate that? Yeah, I mean, in terms of effect and everything, I would rate it very high, but obviously I'm gonna put it in B. Again, I really love watching Gangplank play, and I'll be fair with you, the bin play is one of the best Gangplank plays of all time, and I would feel really bad if I rated these plays anywhere near it. So I know that the play this guy made was insane. Like, honestly, like, it's better than people think it is, and I'll explain why. But I'm going to put it in B tier because at the end of the day, this is just the smartest thing you can do is Gangplank. And granted, it was Season 6, so it's a while ago. Still, I think B tier, nothing special. I don't think it was within his control, more so than in the opponent's control to not make that kind of mistake. But obviously, anytime you steal a Gangplank or a Baron with your Gangplank ult, you're going to be pretty damn happy about it. So, in terms of satisfaction, I'd say it's up here. In terms of actual gameplay, probably down here. So I actually didn't get to play against Smeb all that much in my career. I scrimmed against him, and obviously that's very different from stage play. I obviously hold him in very high regard, and I have respect for anyone that, you know, kind of came in and innovated what is considered to be high-level play in League of Legends this day, right? Because a lot of these, Smeb included, right, that started in like Season 2, Season 3. At least I remember watching him play. I don't know his trajectory of his career all that well, but I remember watching, and I do believe he was active in Season 2 and 3 already. And he kind of carried over all the way to Season 8, which is when I kind of got big as a pro player. And he basically was there to develop a lot of the strategy and also mechanics that were necessary to be considered one of the best top laners in the world. He was someone that I looked to set a standard. You know, I was someone that liked to draw inspiration from all players, right? Not specify and focus on trying to be like one player. But he was definitely a name that was on my list that I had to watch his VODs and try to understand, you know, what does it take to be one of the best in the world.
Here comes the teleport. It's Zoom. Barrel's at the ready. Jack Sparrow is back in.
Oh my God.
It's two. Zoom will get launched on, but T instead. JDG. This is the fight. Goodbye support. Hello Zoom.
The Gangplank TP flank has to be one of the most hypey situations, because basically you're forcing the opponents into the barrel minigame against you, which is why I consider it to be one of the spiciest situations for Gangplank. Not many Gangplank players have the, you know, sorry for my words, balls to pull this one off. But if done correctly, it is one of the most devastating champions to flank with because of the sheer amount of AoE Gangplank can provide. He does so much damage, as you can see. And here's a beautiful example of the follow-up barrel. So he hits a barrel chain and then follows up immediately afterwards, which is why level 13 is such a big spike for Gangplank, because the time it takes for the barrel to be primed basically goes down from 2 seconds to 1 second to I believe it's 1 second at level 13. So it goes from like 3 seconds to 2 seconds to 1 second for the barrel to be primed. So the little tick timer on the barrel goes down by a second for every time he levels up to either 7 or 13. Really beautiful display of Gangplank mechanics, and you know, like I mentioned, it takes a lot of confidence to TP in like this on Gangplank and TP behind the enemy team and say you're gonna have to go through me, because he's generally speaking more on the squishier side. Now, bruiser Gangplank builds have been a thing. Nowadays though, you're pretty squishy, so if you are gonna go for this TP play, you're going to have to really make sure you hit those barrels. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is definitely S tier. Like I mentioned, this is great Gangplank mechanics. Exactly what I mentioned. You barrel chain, you put a barrel on top of them, you detonate it again. This is how you one-shot people in a normal game. Usually you don't have enough damage to, a normal game in the sense of like, you're not obscenely fed. You know, you haven't killed your opponent 20 times in lane and gotten a million plates. Just if you're in a standard game of Gangplank, you farm up well. This is a state you can achieve in pretty much every Gangplank game, where you detonate 2 barrels in a row, and it flux on your favor and you get the crits. They will disappear off your screen. I think GBM was the first player that comes to mind for me as like the big Gangplank player in Korea. Soaz comes to mind in Europe. That said, when it comes to like raw mechanics and like big explosive crit moments, I do think Zoom and Bin are the best in the world. And, you know, they definitely started showing up after Season 9. So that's kind of how I see that. I'm sure there's other Gangplank players that are fantastic that I haven't watched, and I'm excited to see what they can pull off in the future.
I just love what Pawn's doing with these kegs, just chucking them in brushes.
They're allowed to have setup time here in Victor's Gaming. They've got to be careful of the kegs, but if a spear connects onto depth...
But this is what we talked about, the difference between the setup, EDG finally getting on top of it.
I don't know if you want to be 50-50! Cacao does steal the dragon, but the damage is absolutely ridiculous in the backlines. Amazing Jay, he's going to run in. Pawn's doing silly things to people as Deft now going to find Rookie. No kills there over the EDG side. Kid's getting chased down by an Olaf.
Okay, regional qualifier, so a lot of pressure. Trying to qualify the Worlds. Oh my, what just happened there? How is there so many barrels? Oh, they just slept. Oh my god. Okay, so I can tell this is the first year Gangplank was released, because I'll be fair with you. When it comes to the mechanics, it was like you just put down 1,000,000 barrels and people just didn't realize they were all going to die. If you try this right now, I pause this for you. You try to just put down 3 barrels and then press Q, you're going to look like an idiot. People are going to kill you really fast, and either you or your barrels, probably both, starting with your barrels and then you. That said, they're also tunnel vision on the dragon, and they're not paying attention to Gangplank, which I do believe got reworked. This was like right after his rework, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, let's put it this way. If it wasn't, then shame on them, because walking into a barrel in the bush and watching Gangplank put down 3 barrels in front of you, that's a sign of run for your life. Alright, so when it comes to actual Gangplank mechanics, it has to be C tier. I don't... It was... I'm sorry, obviously the outcome, again, in terms of satisfaction is up here, you know, but that's the beauty of Gangplank. Even when, like, mechanically, they're nothing. Nothing special. Sometimes you can just, you know, get those incredibly satisfying big crit moments. That said, yeah. Granted, this is at the release of the new Gangplank, and people haven't figured out all of his barrel mechanics yet, as evidenced by the fact that the enemy team walked into all of them. I think he would agree with me on rating it as a very mediocre, if not, at this stage, bad Gangplank play. Satisfaction, however, like I mentioned, 10 out of 10.
Oh, but as they back out, they're not put together. You got Gangplank on the flank, Gangplank, one big shot, Ben! Can you do it? Huge! My God, one moment, one shot, one barrel, that's all you need, shooting!
This has to be, you know, even before I watch it, obviously I've seen this clip, you know, this is the Gangplank you want to be. I'm gonna pause right here, because already, that TP takes some serious balls, okay? There's a lot of GP players that get Cinder stunned here and just die, okay? I've been there. I've tried. And I've died. First off, puts down the barrel into the ultimate, not guarantee, but increases odds of hitting the initial barrel. This is really important because, again, I mentioned, mobile champions against Gangplank have a really hard time walking through his ultimate. Hits the Death's Daughter, which is the ultimate upgrade that gives him increased damage and increased slow. Manages to connect the slow, first barrel chain, hits it with the auto attack. Again, really want to specify there. Put down the first barrel chain, hits it with an auto attack, and this is where people get it wrong. They say Bin's barrel. It's not one, he hits 2 in a row. So keep in mind, playing against the best players in the world at the time, caps, perks, contesting people on a barrel chain like this, it's not simple. Trust me, I played against them, and I tried many times, and it is not so simple to hit barrels on some of these players. Puts down his next barrel, and he instantly puts down the barrel, auto attacks the barrel, right here, auto attacks the barrel to reduce the change rate, like reduce the detonation time, and then flashes, tries to Q the barrel, got pushed back by Syndra first, but then he flashes in and Qs the barrel and finishes both of them off because he auto attacks the Syndra, I believe, right after the barrel pops. So just the whole sequence here, beautifully played. I think people actually underplayed how difficult this was mechanically to pull off, even though obviously everyone was amazed at how well he played that. But my god, what a Gangplank play. And as a true Gangplank main, drops dead. An honorable death. Has to be in the widest tier. This is, you know, by far, I think, the most impressive Gangplank play of all time. Like I mentioned, everything that makes Gangplank a complicated champion mechanically is about the fact that it's timing and accuracy involved. His timing and accuracy were perfect. Plus, he had the balls to TP behind, you know, 2 champions that can pretty much one-shot him too. Right, if Syndra's paying more attention and hits a stun there, Senna does auto Q. I'm pretty sure he dies on the spot almost. Like he's barely alive after tanking pretty much only Syndra's damage. I don't think Senna even got the time to get too much damage in, but has to be one of the best plays. If not, to be fair with you, it is the best play of all time when it comes to Gangplank plays. So I got to play against him at 2020 Worlds, and I'll tell you these hilarious stories. So usually I have a very good opinion of how matchups played out because I have a lot of experience playing all kinds of champions. And he would blind pick Jax. And I told my teammates, I'm going to pick Renekton into it. This matchup is not that bad. You know, if you know how to play this matchup, you can definitely be fine in this matchup. And I'm super confident I'll be fine in this matchup. I was not fine. By level 5 in both games, I think I died twice. 1 versus 1 straight up. And I didn't know what hit me. He literally changed my perspective of what Jax is as a champion. To this day, I still don't understand the science behind what has been Jax, but for the rest of that tournament, there were jokes being made about me being able to blind pick champions, except if it's been Jax. So I would blind pick a champion, or in draft meetings, I would just tell my team, you know, I can blind this, no problem, I don't need bans. And then, not without fail, but more often than not, someone would like to mention, except if it's been Jax, because that's how good he was. Thank you so much for joining me, watching back some of these greatest Gangplank moments of all time. Thank you for sending them in. Please let me know how I rated them in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys next time.